haven't seen a setup this good in a long time. There's three companies right now that I feel like are potentially generational wealth building opportunities. I'm not even trying to clickbait you to watch this video, guys. Like, we've been getting a lot of volatility in 2026. My account's been volatile. I'm sure your account's been volatile too. So what we're going to do is break down my research and my thought process into these three companies that I feel like if you capitalize right now and do stocks and options the right way, you could build a lot of wealth and capitalize on this volatility in 2026. So let's head over to the charts first. And the first thing that we're going to look at over here on the right hand side is going to be the big bad Robinhood stock. We're going to go in order of my least favorite of the three to my most favorite of the three, which all three I love, but we're going to start with Robinhood first. Let's break it down. So you can see a 1-year chart down here. Robinhood stock from peak to trough went from all the way up there to down 52% from all-time highs. Who would have thought the Robinhood stock was literally going to fall 52% from all-time highs? Now, if you ask me, is the dip justified? In my opinion, part of the dip is justified, but totally not going down 52%. You know, the number one thing that moves the price of a stock in the long term, as you guys know by following this channel, where the profits go. If earnings per share is going up and to the right, the stock is going to follow that in the long term. But in the short term, on that major pump that Robinhood recently had, the stock got a little bit disconnected from the fundamentals. So the market was super excited and went up too much. Now the market is super nervous and went down too much. Super quick, just check out this breakdown I did on Robinhood stock a few months ago. This is from 11/5 of 2025. Go all the way down the bottom right here on my breakdown and let this load up. You can see that I had the intrinsic value for Robinhood right there around 91 bucks per share, and it was currently $142 when I did this breakdown. I can't tell you how many people thought that I was crazy and on drugs, and I'm saying literally Robinhood stock is maybe going to fall 50 bucks per share. Well, I don't know. Now we're looking at the chart and it's down, below intrinsic value in my opinion. So that's why I made it into this video right here. Okay, so let's dive in here. So this line right here, the red line, corresponds to the earnings per share growth line of Robinhood. You guys know this line is the golden line. It dictates where the stock is going to go in the long term. Short term, yes, it's going to be very volatile. Sometimes the stock will go above it, and this would be overvalued right here. And sometimes the stock will go below it, and it would be undervalued right here. And if we just go look at this is the actual earnings per share, how they reported in the past. We're essentially plotting the earnings per share growth on top of the chart to figure out where the stock is over or undervalued at. I understand this line is not the end all be all, but this line gives us a very, very good gauge of where the stock is actually at in relation to the earnings. So when the stock is all the way up here, let's take a look at what percent this is overvalued. Roughly 43% overvalued. Do you really want to go buy calls up here or sell puts up here or buy shares up here? Dude, of course not. Most retail investors, they love to do that, and now they're getting smoked on this 50% drop going down on Robinhood. So now nobody out there loves Robinhood stock anymore, but now I see it as a sale. Now here is something where most people go wrong. They say, oh, well, Robinhood stock from right here to right here, oh, the stock is down 26%, it's a buy. But not every dip is a buy, because look at where you're at in relation to the profits, where you're at in relation to the earnings per share growth line. You're still a little bit overvalued at that point. But I feel like right now, and just like I talked about on my Discord breakdown a few months ago, right now intrinsic value is somewhere in this $90 range, and that's where the earnings per share growth line's at. So if we do a percentage basis of how much the stock is undervalued right now, it's roughly 20%. So in my opinion, there is a decent margin of safety in Robinhood stock right now, and I've been allocating. How am I allocating though? This is $1 million question. So it basically goes in tiers of how confident I am. If I'm really confident, I will buy shares. If I'm super confident, I will sell puts. And if I'm ultra, super duper confident, I will go buy call options. It's kind of in that order also of how difficult it is to make money in the stock market. Shares are obviously easy because there's no expiration date, there's no timing, there's no theta. You could just buy the shares and theoretically hold them forever until you're, quote, right. As long as you buy a good company at a good price, you'll probably be right in the long term with a lot of short-term volatility. But when you go sell put options, of course you have an expiration date. You need the share price to go up, stay flat, or not go down to the strike to make the max profit. And then with call options, which is much harder to do, you need that share price to go up and go up really fast in the certain amount of time that you have for your expiration date. So this is what I did on Robinhood. I sold some puts, collected $29,000 in cash flow, took some of that money and bought some call options, and I took some of that money and bought some shares too. The goal here is for these sold puts right here to expire worthless. You can see that I sold a $65 put, picked up roughly $20 per share in premium going all the way out until 2028. So theoretically, my break even on this trade is going to be almost $45 per share because I get this premium right here no matter what. So the premium minus the strike price is 45 bucks per share where my break even is literally at on that trade right there. So take a look, 45 bucks per share on the right hand side going all the way out until 2028. This right here is where the stock is going to have to be. Meanwhile, earnings per share is clearly going up and to the right, and even if we want to say the earnings per share growth is going to slow down a little bit, that is totally fine. But just look at the disconnect between where my strike price is at, where my break even's at, I'm sorry, and where the actual earnings per share is likely to be. So if I were to get assigned shares of Robinhood down here, I will love it. I will be happy to do it. Give me your shares for $45 per share. I will take all of them right now. There's a lot of negative sentiment right now. The earnings per share is growing really good. The revenue is growing really, really good. I think this stock is a pretty good table pounder of a buy right now, and I'm slowly allocating. I am not, betting the house and going super hard down here. I wasn't have my ratios in check because the overall market valuation is a little bit hot right now. And even though I'm super compelled to do this on Robinhood, again, the overall market's a little bit hot. If we go to the bottom of my stock sheet, you can see that I have the S&P and the NASDAQ roughly 10% overvalued right now. So if these two happen to fall, it's going to drag Robinhood stock down and all these stocks down with it that we're going to be talking about right now. So you have to keep that in the back of your head. Okay, so number 2 is going to be the big bad Meta. And I know we talked about Meta stock before, but a lot has changed since we talked about Meta stock, and I'm actually even more bullish right now on Meta. So let's run through it. You can see that Meta stock has been pretty much going sideways since, we'll just say right here, December of 2024. That's a long time for Meta stock to really do nothing, over a year. But meanwhile, guess what? The earnings per share of Meta is clearly going up and to the right. Earnings per share up and to the right. Meanwhile, the stock is doing nothing. Yes, earnings per share has been a little bit bumpy in this time frame, but EPS is clearly going up and to the right. So again, there's a little bit of a disconnect, kind of like there was on Robinhood stock, where Robinhood stock was going down and EPS was going up and to the right. Right now, Meta stock is really doing nothing, but EPS continues to go up and to the right. Now, the big reason why people are all worried about Meta is because they think they're spending too much money on capital expenditures for their AI data center build out. And yes, they are spending a crap ton of money. It's roughly 35% of their top line revenue is literally being shipped off and sent to build out their data centers. But here's the thing about it. What happens when that data center spending slows as a percent of total revenue? That money is going to go to the bottom line as earnings per share. Less expenses, more earnings per share. And also, they're going to monetize that data center build out. So it's a double bullish tailwind from Meta, in my opinion. And fundamentally speaking, let me move myself to the right. Fundamentally speaking, this stock is trading at 21 times trailing earnings, which is absolutely insane, in my opinion. If they wanted to have really good earnings per share growth, all they would have to do is just slow down their capital expenditures and they would be fine. They would be growing money like crazy, growing earnings per share like crazy. But because they're investing for the future and trying to build out their AI data centers pretty rapidly, it's hitting earnings per share growth. But again, the growth is still good. You can see right here, it's 24% growth year over year. So theoretically speaking, if the stock is at intrinsic value, the stock should be going up roughly 24% per year, which is in line with the earnings per share growth. But on top of that, we're getting the stock for 21 times trailing earnings, which is very cheap in my opinion. So we have a double bullish tailwind from Meta. So I like Meta. I do think that Meta is a buy right now. And I guess we could go look at the stock sheet that I talk about sometimes. Let's take a look at Meta on here, and then I'll fill you in on Robinhood here too. So Meta's valuation, I feel like, is a 20 out of 20. The growth is an 18 out of 20. The moat is a 16 out of 20, execution risk is an 8 out of 10, and the economy is a 21 out of 30. This is how I break down the economy, roughly a 146 out of 200. You could just go pause the video and go back and watch that. And then over here is how I come up to my valuation on Meta. You can see the Meta right here, intrinsic value, is roughly $950 per share based on my calculations. And the formula that I use for this calculation is right here. This comes straight out of the book of Warren Buffett's mentor, Benjamin Graham. It's called the Benjamin Graham's Revised Intrinsic Value Formula. It's not the end-all be-all, but it gives us a very good gauge of if something is over or undervalued. If we take a look at that on Robinhood so far, you can see that Robinhood intrinsic value is somewhere around 86 bucks. I am assuming a 35% growth rate for earnings per share. It could be a little bit better, so maybe I'm lowballing a little bit, but I always want to be conservative when I have my numbers right there. Now, if we just go take a look at Robinhood super quick, you can see that the valuation is pretty good, the growth is good. I mean, it's pretty much just a good all-round investment right now for a total score of a 77. So I'm allocating to both of those. But I do think that Meta is going to have explosive upside in the years to come, and I think that a lot of people are really writing off this company because they just don't believe that Zuck is ever going to figure out how to monetize the data centers, How are you going to make this more profitable? How are you going to just make us more money? That's what he needs to do for us. And, when he does these earnings calls, he's one of the worst salesmen for the company ever. So he's not really getting anybody excited like Elon does in earnings calls, for example. Zuck's just kind of like, yeah, we're spending a bunch of money on CapEx and we expect to monetize it, but, we'll talk more about it when we get to that point. And that is fine. I will continue to accumulate Meta shares as this is happening right now. As for the trades that I made on Meta, I bought some shares, I sold some puts, and I bought some calls. And that's exactly what you could see right here. Sold some puts, picked up $46,000 in cash flow, bought some calls, and I also bought some shares too. I do expect to do very, very well on this trade right here. Going all the way out to 2028, a 560 strike price put, and I picked up, we'll just say $90 a share in premium for a break even of $470 per share. Take a look at the chart right here. $470 per share on Meta 2 years out. That's going to be pretty insane if you ask me. Let's go all the way out over here. Meta, $470 per share, 2028. Here's 2028 right here. $470 per share is right here. Like, it would be pretty insane for the stock to fall to this level when earnings per share is continuing to go up and to the right. You could also see earnings per share right here going up and to the right. The stock is going to follow that in the long term, and this kind of builds into why longer duration options are just so much better. They're easier, they're safer, you don't have to worry about day-to-day volatility and stress about, oh my god, what's the stock doing day-to-day? None of that stuff matters. I've been smoking the S&P 500 since the last 10 years. This system that I do right here works. It's very boring, but hey, I'm here to make money. I'm not here to have excitement. I'm not here to make you guys laugh or anything like that, like most, YouTubers do online. I'm an investor, and I'm here in the trenches investing with you guys in this stuff. But, let's just go straight into stock number 3. You probably could have guessed. It's going to be NVIDIA. But before you click off, I'm going to tell you the thing that most people get wrong with NVIDIA that I think if you understand it right now, you're actually realizing that, hey, maybe I am leaving some money on the table by not allocating to NVIDIA because you're missing the big thing right there. I guess I kind of worded that weird, but just roll with me on this. Let's take a look at NVIDIA's chart in the last 5 years. You can see that the stock is clearly going up and to the right, but it's kind of stalled out right here. And if we flip this to a 1-year chart, you can see that NVIDIA stock has basically done nothing since August of 2025. It's been roughly 6 months. But here's what else is happening in the background. This is kind of going to make you crap your pants, I think, when you really think about this. Okay, remember that. 6 months of the stock doing nothing. Meanwhile, earnings per share is growing by 60% per year. Half of that, 6 months, is going to be 30%. So earnings per share is growing 30% while the stock is doing nothing. So the stock just became 30% cheaper by the stock doing nothing because earnings per share is growing and actually accelerating. Revenue growth is growing and actually accelerating, and gross margins are also expanding too on this company. There's a lot of AI demand. A lot of people are freaking out that the next DeepSeek version is going to come out and we're not going to need as much compute. People think that AMD is going to crush NVIDIA. People think that the hyperscalers are going to make their own chips. Look, there's a reason why NVIDIA's margins right now are so fat. It's because they have the best product and everybody wants it. So they could basically just go out there and name their price. And you're getting all of that for 43 times trailing earnings. And you might be like, Brandon, that's still kind of high, like 43 times. Think about this with me. Think about the moat. Think about the pricing power. Think about the growth on the top and bottom line. You're getting extreme growth. And the forward price earnings ratio level for NVIDIA is definitely going to be in the 20s. So I do think that NVIDIA stock is clearly undervalued, and I do think that NVIDIA stock is going to explode in the coming quarters. Now, does it have to explode in the coming quarters like I think it's going to? It doesn't have to. And of course, this is why I do longer duration stock options to give my thesis more time to play out. So we take a look at my stock sheet right here. You can see NVIDIA's on the top. 19 out of 20 for valuation, 18 out of 20 for growth, 19 out of 20 for moat. Like, it's basically almost scoring perfect across the board. Now, of course, it's not going to be a perfect score because the economy is a 21 out of 30. There are things that are definitely, going bad for the economy, such as the overall labor market and stuff like that. That stuff does get factored in because, of course, if the economy takes a crap, the S&P is going to fall, the Nasdaq's going to fall. The S&P and the Nasdaq are a little bit overvalued right now. If this stuff falls, it's going to bring everything down with it. And the high beta, high volatility companies like NVIDIA and Meta and Robinhood, they're going to get crushed when we get volatility. But again, longer duration stock options win, and I don't have to worry about the day-to-day volatility. That's the beauty of the system that I do right here. So Overall, I'm very bullish these three companies. I'm allocated to all three companies, but my ratios are always in check. I'm not too heavy on any individual company. You guys know I have a lot of the S&P, a lot of the Nasdaq, a lot of call options on different companies, a lot of sold puts on different companies. I'm pretty diversified in this account, but these three companies right here are by far my three most bullish companies right now, and I would be shocked if we take a snapshot of this video, go 2 years ahead, that these stocks are not up 20, 30, 40, maybe even a double from here. I think it's very, very likely that they're going to be much higher from right now, barring some big black swan event that could happen at any time for the most part. So I hope you got value from this video, and if you want to watch a really, really good one that I just posted about how to build your portfolio right now and capitalize on this volatility in 2026 step by step, anybody's going to be able to understand it. Watch the video right here. I'll see you there.